G'day mates, it's the Doctor here, and today I'm going to make a prediction video for Legendary Duelist 5. Since 2017, Konami has been printing these Legendary Duelist sets where certain characters gain more support, reprints, and upgraded versions of their iconic cards throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise. Now, whether or not the cards themselves are any good from a competitive standpoint is up for debate, but regardless, I love the idea, and that's why I'm making this prediction video on who should be featured in the next set. Starting with the original series is ESPA and his Jinzo archetype. What's always been unusual for me is how there is a monster called Jinzo number 7, yet to this day there are only 5 Jinzo monsters. So is it really that difficult for Konami to make more Jinzo cards? I mean, trap cards have kinda gone out of fashion aside from Ultra, but maybe in a scary way we can have new Jinzo monsters that negate other effects while present on the field. It's a stretch, but if Jinzo managed to become his own character in GX, then he must be a favorite among fans and staff of Yu-Gi-Oh! So let's see more Jinzo cards. My next pick for GX is Sartorius and his Arcana Force archetype. Arcana Force have always been one of my favorite archetypes, and ever since the Chaos Dragon structure deck, he gave me the idea that Konami could do the same with Arcana Force, but sadly never came to be. Now there's still a handful of cards Sartorius used throughout GX that still haven't been printed in the real world, but that's a good thing. As we've seen with Cyber Angels, they got better in the real world compared to the anime. Not to mention, there are still Arcana Force cards that have never been featured, as they are based on these Tyrant cards like Star and Tower are still missing. So let's see Arcana Force make a comeback in the modern world of dueling. For Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, I'm going with Kallen and his Infinity archetype. Because with so many cards that can banish themselves from the graveyard, and the fact Infinities rely on having no cards in the owner's hand, there is potential to have fantastic support for this specific archetype. But more importantly, Infinities have been one of those scattered archetypes that needs to be reprinted in a single set, rather than random booster packs each generation. Now there may be some hope with the latest ban list revealing Infinity Barrier removed from the list, so that could be a sign Infinities being reprinted might already be happening. But hey, if not Legendary Duelist 5, then hopefully the next Legendary deck set. And on that note, please reprint Infinity General Konami so it's no longer a manga exclusive. For the 4th entry in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, I am choosing Shark. Now this is my most biased pick because when Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal first started, there was an archetype called Generation Fish, or Band Fish as I like to call them, and they were a neat idea, but they just didn't get the support they needed. Specifically, a fish-type number monster I have been waiting for so long, but we still haven't seen one. I mean, what the heck? But personal reasons aside, isn't it strange how despite Utopia having about a dozen different Chaos forms, Leviathan Dragon has just been left to rot? Even Shark Drake, Abyss Splash, and Silent Honor Arc got Chaos forms. But perhaps instead of a Chaos version, Leviathan Dragon should have a Shining version like Utopia the Lightning. But even all that aside, the Shark archetype is just really weak with itself being restricted to Water Xyz monsters, which would be fine, but have made it next to useless. So maybe, just maybe, after all this time, the Shark archetype can be redeemed in Legendary Duelist 5. When it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc 5, this was around the time I took a break from Yu-Gi-Oh! So I can't say exactly who needs more reprints or upgraded versions of their cards. So let's jump to the final character in this list in the current Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and that is Akira Aizen and his Tindangle archetype. I can't be the only one who thinks it's weird despite Aizen being a recurring character has only had one duel, and that was a long time ago. The Tindangles themselves are a weird archetype focusing on flip summoning of all things, when these days most players try to swarm the field with their boss monsters on the first turn. So for Tindangles to work, they need cards like Book of Taiyu and another Link monster to maybe cheat the system with flip summoning, because Acute Cerberus on its own just isn't that good. But to see Tindangles themselves as just another one-off archetype, in my opinion, is a huge disrespect to the cards themselves and the character Aizen. Granted, Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns is far from over, so while the possibility is still there, I feel like Aizen should have had at least a few duels up to this point. And that will be my roster for Legendary Duelist 5. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, then please check out my Please Print video, as well as my top 5 cards that should be banned in my opinion. And until next time, take care, mates.